I'm making a bubbler. But these 4 pieces right here, I'm gonna make the simplest bubbler I've ever fucking made. One of them's a blow tube. Let's take a look. So a few of these pieces go to the other torch beside me here. And my blank here, this is a 33 by 2.2 mil tubing. And I'm going to just clean up the end here a little bit. Pull off the little flag, that's what I call it. And now I'm just going to round out the bottom here. Even out the wall thickness and everything like that. Because this is going to be the base of my bubbler when I'm finished. So I'm just going to get this done. A little bit of a puff out, because now I want to even the walls out. So I'm going to heat above where that is blown out. So I'm going to try to suck it in while allowing some of the glass that I'm heating right now to sort of equalize and melt down and flow into the puddle that is forming at the bottom of this tube. So I'm just about there, and there we go. Now I'm just going to let that cool for just a second right now. Now for this step I really should use my smaller torch, but just to save time, I'm going to risk a bit of a blowout here. Yeah, a little bit of bubble trash blew out there, but I see it on the bench in front of me, so that's not quite ideal. I should have used the smaller torch and been able to control the heat a little bit better, but that's what I get for doing a video. Now, I need to make sure that this punty or the blow tube I just put on at the bottom here is not going to fucking fall off on me. So I just twist it there to make sure that I get it melted on nice. Now I'm going to move up here. But right there, this is going to be the top of my bubbler. So I'm going to melt off the tube from the rest of the body here. You can do this in a whole lot of different ways. This is a really basic one I'm making. You can blow out different shapes for the can here, make a bubble base instead of just a plain cylinder. Really, you can go all out. If you're starting to blow glass, I highly recommend playing with this bubbler design quite a bit actually, because you learn a lot of valuable skills while working with these techniques right here. So once again, I'm going to get this wall thickness all evened out here. And then we're going to move over to the smaller torch to do a little bit of fine work on this. There we go, a little bit again. Alright. So that's, fuck, one more. Alright, now we're going to move over to the other torch. So the first step here is to drop this guy, which is 8 mil by 1.8 mil walls, down into this guy right here. So for that I need to blow out a little hole in the top of the can. open that hole up to the same diameter as the tube that I want to insert into it. You really don't want to go much bigger than the hole, or than the tube you're working with. So I like to be careful and go back and try to fit it again and again until I have a nice snug fit. There's no doubt faster ways to do some of this, but I never mind taking my time to make sure that you guys get quality work. Now the trick right here is I'm only going to insert this about just over half the way into the can right here, okay? And then I'm going to tack it right there. So that's not really going anywhere. It's tacked loosely on the one side of the glass there. And now using a tool, I'm going to seal in all sides of the weld there, and now I have to make sure that it's all evenly melted in. So I'm going to take my time here. Once again, if I rush this, I could get it done quicker, but I just want to be as nice and pleasant looking. I'm also going to show you a little trick right here. Down here, I need a clean rod. Alright, this side. Now with that rod on the inside veg right there, I can have better control over my center rod. It's not going to flip-flop around on me anymore. Alright, so now that my glass tube is stuck in the inside there, I'm going to clean up the top just a little bit. Very gently remove this excess glass that's here. The excess glass is left from when I folded over the tube that I was putting in, as well as a little bit from the outside of the weld. Now very precise heat right at the edge to blow that center hole out. You want to make sure to not blow out the side panel of the wall. So I got a hole just where I want it there. Can't see it. Remove a little bit of glass, so I'm going to use a little punty here to pull that out. This is just going to make sure that I have the right size hole for the user, because it's never good to have too big of a hole on these or too small of a hole. So now I have my hole up top right there, and I'm going to heat around the outside edge right there, and I have a tool that I'm going to use to press my bowl down when I have the glass soft. You don't want to wait for it to get molten and move on its own. You want it to just be soft. So when I see my center stem start to flop around in there, it's getting too soft. And we're going to press while we spin it to make sure it's centered. And now I like a big bowl, so I'm going to heat the outside edge here and push down once more and get that stem right near the center of the can there. Or the bottom of the can, right there. Not centered. Alright, now the next step is we're just going to blow a hole out on the side right here. Flare it open. I'm going to use my bigger reamer now just to get this a little wider. Not quite there yet. I'm making it the same size as this. Now we're going to attach these two together here. So I'm going to get them both nice and hot. And now I'm going to lean it up just like that. Nice hammer bob. And now I have to smooth that weld out, because it is janky. So with a bit of a smaller, less hissing flame, so there's less oxygen to this, so it's a little bit softer on the glass, I'm going to heat up one side of it and blow it out, and then I'm going to move on. This is what I call quartering, eighthing. It's taking your time. The other way would be to bridge this, blow to this part here to this part down at the bottom here, and I could do it much quicker, but I like to take patience because it's a virtue, and it allows me to focus on making sure that everything looks the way I want it to, and I'm not rushing anything. I don't have anything against Russians, I just don't rush in myself. So just move around nice and slow, giving it a puff at every step. Now I just got the top to do, and it will look pretty good. now we remove the blow tube on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to adjust the angle here just a little. I want you to look downwards into the bowl just a little bit. Alright, now we remove this. So I just rushed a little bit and it got a bit of a crack, but I don't think it'll be a problem after I take it to the other torch. So when I took the blow tube off, it cracked a little bit because I allowed the blow tube to cool down a little bit too much. So all I need to do right now is just make sure that the crack doesn't spread. So I'm going to heat it up gently just by what I call brushing it through the flame gently. And this is actually probably going to get rid of this crack. And then I can just melt the bottom in wholly, and well, the crack will be completely melted. So you won't even know. Alright, so you can see this tiny bit of a crack right there, but not even. Alright, so I'm going to remove this nub that got left from the blow tube. That's hilarious. Right after I say I don't like Russian, I rushed, and then I fucked up. So there's a lesson for y'all. Don't rush. So just so you know, the crack was right there. And by the time I'm done, there's not going to be any crack or any scar or any reason that this piece is not 100% effective and sellable and stable and all of that. So I'm giving a little bit of a puff down into the bottom. Even out the wall thicknesses a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and so I'm going to adjust this behind me. So now I'm going to just flatten the bottom of this bubbler by heating the section here that I want, and I'm going to rock it down onto the graphite pad that I now have in front of the camera. And there you go. So it sits right there. Now, one last thing.